All right, welcome to the Oh My God, I'm Launching podcast. I am your host, Ken Westgar, and today I have Cindy with me. Welcome, Cindy.
Oh, thank you for having me, Ken. This is so exciting. I'm being interviewed by a Norway podcast host. It's a big deal to me.
That's a big deal. I'm glad to have you. Today we're going to talk a little bit about you and the stuff that you do, and we're going to talk about your launches, but we're also going to talk about self-care and how we tend to put ourselves last instead of putting ourselves first. But before we get into that, I would love for you to just give us a quick intro of who you are, who you help, and how you help people.
My name is Cindy. Thank you for watching this. I'm the non-diet nutrition coach at Cindy Chan Phillips Nutrition. Basically, I help women over 50 avoid the discouraging weight gain and the exhausting yo-yo dieting without counting calories so that they can wake up feeling good naturally in the morning. And I do this via two programs. One is a 6-week nutrition 6-week program, and the another one is called the Restart program. The other one is called Rise program. It's a 6-month group coaching program. In fact, I'm in the middle of a launch of the Restart program.
Awesome. I would love to hear a little bit about your journey of where you started and where you're at now and how that's been for you.
I was a stay-at-home mom, raising two babies. One day, my mom was sick. You know, in the US, you have to book an appointment. You can't just walk in. So I think
Mhm.
she had a flu. I just, the prospect of waiting for 3 weeks to get an appointment was not good. So I thought, hey, now here is a walk-in clinic. Let's go in and let's just wait however many hours we need to wait, but at least we'll be seen. So we walked in there, and I was living in Southern California, and there was a large population of undocumented aliens. We call that
Mhm.
undocumented immigrants from Mexico. So there were a lot of patients from that population, and in that 3 hours in the waiting room, I saw a lot. I saw the young Latino moms keep giving the sugar drinks to their babies, to the toddlers, in the 3 hours. It's the colors of the drinks I have not seen before. It's like red, it's primary color,
Mhm.
red, blue, orange. And I almost had that urge. It's like, I want to grab their wrist and say, no, that's enough. What don't you know? Not baby kids don't drink this color water. But then it got me thinking, yeah, perhaps they don't know. You know, I can certainly empathize with the urge to please our children, to make our children happy. So maybe they don't know. So that really got me thinking of being part of a solution. And for the very next day, I enrolled in a community college nutrition class so that people would take me seriously. So that
Mhm.
was the beginning of a journey. And I ended up getting a master's degree in nutrition science. And I have been a dietitian for 10 years, helping people stay healthy.
Mhm. And do you do this by being just online, or do you also have like a place where
I
you
started out
do it
as
physically?
a primary dietitian of a critical care unit, caring for people with liver failure. So I really see downstream of what can happen if we
Mhm.
keep doing not taking care of ourselves. So I went from doing that to now helping people stay healthy so they don't end up being the patients that I saw
Mhm.
in my first journey. And I was the nutrition education director for a non-profit agricultural organization for 8 years. And after that, I started my own practice. And I saw one-on-one clients in person in my office, but also online as well. But now I have been really putting my focus on promoting my course, my Restart course, as well as my group program. So I'm kind of a closing down. I'm not really accepting new one-on-one clients for the most part.
Hmm. Exactly. And with that, you obviously have gone through a launch or two, and I would love to hear what that experience has been for you doing a launch, and how it's evolved from your first launch to your last launch.
Well, you are the master that I want to learn from. So absolutely. So this has been a rather new journey for me, Ken. So I went from being a one-on-one nutrition coach to an online entrepreneur, of course, creator in a very, very short time.
Hmm.
But I think this has been, I went through, this is sort of my second launch. I think it has been a journey of discovering myself and
Mm.
where my mental weakness is. And even during the
Right.
actual mechanics of the launch. Right now, I'm doing just a 4 days open card with a webinar launch, but I have done a 3-day back to back live launch. So I really saw that how my mind not trick me, just give me the negative thought and just put me my mental energy down to the ground level, and how I can go from really confident to phew, and then just needing to reach for the energy to pick myself up again because I still have 2 more days of live launch to go because I still
Hmm.
have like, you know, 15 minutes more to go. And I see some people leaving my webinar and I'm going, wait, I still haven't got my offer yet. Don't leave. Can you relate to that?
Oh yeah.
So that kind of, I think is more of a learning about my mental energy. So to be an entrepreneur and to launch, it's a very lonely and stressful
Absolutely.
experience. And I think of that as a endurance sport because you're holding energy not just for yourself. You're learning about your sort of your dip and valley through that launch process, whether it's 1 week. And this is not to include all your 2 months of pre-launch runway, all the constant content, social media, checking
Hmm.
every day your opt-in rate, checking every day your ad, checking every day the number in your CRM, the opt-in number. And it is just crazy, right? Just like, oh, two more. That doesn't make your day, your hour go a little bit better. Oh, hasn't changed. So not only do you have to hold the energy for yourself, you hold the energy for the prospects as well. You have to hold the space for them. Not
Hmm.
just the energy for yourself, you have to hold the space for your client, for your prospect, to get them to say yes to you. It's an endurance sport. Would you would you agree with that?
100%. I mean, the mental game, it's, yeah. I mean, I don't think people understand if they haven't launched, they don't understand how much of the mental game is going on with the launch. It's just like you said, it's that roller coaster of being on a, well, when you start the launch, you're really excited because you're about to launch and you get that message out to the world. But as soon as that launch is going, and maybe not seeing the numbers that you would like, then you go into this deep down negative black hole, and it's hard to get out of that one sometimes. And yeah, I think you were quite spot on in how you explain it. And it's definitely more like a 80% mindset thing and then 20% work than the other way around, which people seem to think it is.
Yes, I think the mistake that most entrepreneurs, including myself, make is thinking of that as a sprint sport.
Hmm.
It's an endurance sport. So,
And I can understand why they think so, because you do launch and it's just like you said, it's just 4 day window and that's launch. But in fact, it is a marathon because you do the launch and that's just at the finish line. But it's all the work that's coming before that.
yes. Now, Ken, have you run like 5K, 15K in your? in the past.
For my clients, yes.
So I think this is think about that if you know that you're running a 15K or half marathon, 13 miles, you sort of know that your end game is at the end of the 13 miles, or your end game is the end of the 15K. So it is that endurance sport. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a 200 meter. No launch is 200 meters. Nothing, right? So if you think about that, you think about if you have two runners, would you push a endurance runner out the starting gate on an empty tank? Or alternatively, if you have another runner taking care of himself and knowing what to do to take care of himself and herself on a daily basis, well nourished, eating the right thing. And by the way, there's no bad, good food, just eating the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Two runners out the running gate, which runner will get to the end of the 5K and perform better?
Obviously, the one who's not running on an empty tank.
Obviously, not one with an empty tank. So you want to be the one, not the one running on empty tank. You will be the one being well taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also see another mistake that entrepreneurs thought is that after I close my cart, after the last day, I'm gonna go to fishing. I'm gonna reward myself. I'm gonna take my family for a vacation. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
get a deep tissue massage or the facial or the spa. Those are all great things. But I think self care is not one individual activity that you put on your calendar and save money for. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you think about self care as that runner out there. You just don't feed that runner right before the night before.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that his muscles are full with glycogen, that he's eating well, the minerals, the iron are well. So the same thing, you think about self-care is a daily activity. And there are some elements I think are non-negotiable. So you want to be the runner with properly taken care of so that you don't run out of steam. So as you say, Ken, you say earlier, there's there's such a mental acrobatic experience, and it's a lonely experience. Your wife wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Your wife would be supportive and loving. Your wife probably couldn't really experience and fathom the dip and the valley and the peak. My husband, as loving as he is to me, he wouldn't understand all that too. It's a it's a lonely game. But even
Mm-hmm.
that mental, would you agree that even that mental energy you're talking about, Ken, the mindset, the 80% mindset, but even that mental energy is physical energy.
Yeah, I mean, it will put your entire body into, it drains energy from your entire body. It's not just the mind, obviously. So it's like you said, if you don't take care of the entire body itself, then that's going to affect the energy that you bring out into the launch itself. So definitely when you do show up for, well, a lot of things are, video is webinars, live launches, challenge, blah, blah, all that stuff. And you're putting yourself out there, and that's when you need that energy to kind of show up and just really give it all. But that's going to be hard if you are struggling both mentally and you're not taking care of your body physically as well.
Exactly. Like giving it all. What do you have to give? Giving it all. Well, we have all done that, right, Ken?
Mm-hmm.
White knuckling ourselves. I'm going to give it all. And I think for sometimes yes you drawing on the stored energy, the stored glycogen in your muscle, in your liver, but you just feel awful. You know that feeling, Ken? You know you need to bring 100%, and you just feel like you're running against a wall. But I mean, the camera is still on, the card is still
Hmm.
open, right? You still have objections to handle. It's an awful feeling. You have to kind of reach in deep for that. So let me give you an example. Um, I don't know whether you're a night owl or you're a morning person or you're both. Um,
I'm more like a night owl than a morning person for sure.
so this question,
But I got kids, so you got to get up early anyway.
you have kids?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
they have to go to school, so
oh yeah,
basically you have to get up in the
yeah,
morning to get
yes.
them going.
So let's just say 11 p.m. To me, 11 p.m. is very late. So 11 p.m.
Hmm.
Do you feel, and you're still working, you're still typing your email, you're still putting out a piece of content. Do you feel like hungry, like 11
Sure,
p.m.,
sometimes I do. Yeah.
right? You
Hmm.
feel you just need, you just can't concentrate as well. You just need to go maybe wherever you can see in your kitchen, okay? And
Hmm.
some people will do that out of habit. Some people do that constantly, and that's part of cravings. And that's the topic of what I've just done in my webinar launch. But what's happening
Hmm.
is you're burning a lot of glucose in your brain. This is the most important organ in your whole body. That every time you think about solving problem, you're thinking about bringing up your energy, the resetting your mindset. You're burning glucose, so you're taking up energy in terms of fuel to do that mental game, as you mentioned. Where's that come from? That come from good quality diet. That come from taking care of
Hmm.
yourself. That's why when I say mental energy is physical energy, they come from the same purse of gold coins.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So have you seen this help you when you did a launch, especially when you did that 3 day live launch? I mean, that would have made a huge impact on how you would show up, obviously.
Thank you for saying that, Ken. That was a very humbling experience. I didn't get any sale from that 3 day live launch, but that was my first
Hmm.
launch also. I think, as I said, they learn more about my energy because every person is different. Every person has different
Oh yeah.
expectation. Me being Chinese, there's just that demon of perfectionism that I'm still working
Right.
through it, and there's a reason behind that too.
Mm.
So the fall was hard for me because of that perfectionism, but that's something I get to learn and I get to work on myself, and that's a huge journey. So can I tell you a little bit about how sort of I have reached a milestone about my perfectionism?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love it for sure.
Have you been to Times Square, or have you seen the Times
I haven't.
Square video? And
Yeah.
so there's this a lot of the big screen, right, on the building,
Hmm.
and there's this jumbotron on the NASDAQ building. It's like 50 foot tall. um, I was on the jumbotron. 50
Oh, really?
foot tall image of me. In fact, hold on a second. Can I show you a picture?
Sure. Look at that.
So that was me, and I took this picture standing right here
Hmm.
in my red sweater. And I was going, whoa, I'm on top of the world. I finally recognize dietitian for all the world
Hmm.
in Times Square to see. But only I knew what I was hiding. In my um, education, I was taught to cut calories to help people lose weight and don't eat fat, avoid fat if you want to lose
Hmm.
weight. I wanted to blend in as an immigrant. So I went along with that and I did it better than anybody else to help people cut
Hmm.
calories. I'm the queen of giving you a meal plan that has a low calorie number. But it just didn't make sense the entire time. I have this conflict, the dissonance in my head. I remember growing up around people never counting calories, and that weight has was rarely the issue.
Hmm.
In fact, I remember my mom mincing pork by hand using the Chinese cleaver repeatedly by hand until the consistency was done. And the steamed pork belly is delicious with hot, steamy bowl of rice. And I was 8 years old in Hong Kong. But I hide my heritage. I didn't want people to see that part of me.
Hmm.
I I wanted to blend in. I want to publish in journals. I want to be invited to medical conference. I want to be on Jumbotron. I did all of that, accomplished all of that. But until one day I realized that I was not showing up for myself. I had that perfect professional image that I want to project. I was hiding. Literally, my Chinese medicine books, one from the 15th century, I was hiding in my basement. I would read them at night because I grew up around the traditional Chinese medicine. Until one day I realized I can't do this anymore. I am living two worlds. And here I am helping women. They come to me and I am not showing up fully. So when women come to me that they have been hiding from the evening cravings, they've been hiding in a big loose sweater in the winter because of the gain some weight from the holidays. I know what it's like. And I'm also working through my perfection and really being okay to um, making mistakes during the live webinar and
Hmm.
not having the sale and not seeing myself as a total failure. It's a work in progress. So that solution that I come up with also has to do is I'm going to say, you know what? That's it. I'm going to speak my language. I'm not going to, I'm done with speaking other people's language,
Hmm.
figuratively and literally, because English is not my first language, but I'm going to still continue to speak English. But I am going to say there's got to be a point where merge the Western nutrition science and the traditional Chinese medicine. There's got to be a point. And that point, I realize, is less about the food itself, is about building a healthy body from the within. So
Hmm.
that is the vehicle of helping people stay healthy, taking care of themselves by aligning the outside skill that you learn along with the inside factors, building a healthy body from within. I think that is not different from what Ken, you've been helping your people to, because you mentioned about mindset.
Yeah, because I would say that even, you working on that perfection and learning about, just accepting that you are who you are and let that shine out to the world. in itself is also taking care of yourself, because when you weren't being yourself, obviously that is not taking care of yourself. You hiding everything within, and that's causing a lot of conflict within your mind and the feelings that you have and the energy that you have. So I would say that that's part of the self care as well.
Thank you for saying that. You're absolutely right. I think all these years of almost like living two worlds. At
Hmm.
home, I'm like living that Chinese health view world. And then I have the Western nutrition science outside. That drained a lot of energy
Hmm.
because I was not eating my own medicine.
Exactly.
That's that stress of maintaining that. And that's such a release, that's such a liberation. And I think whoever's watching this, you will get there. You will get there. If you think you have to figure that out, you will get there. You will find there.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think in terms of launching, just being yourself 100% is such a huge part of success today. I mean, maybe back in the day that wasn't so important. It was more about the marketing strategies and all that. But I think today, when you see people who are, you have more of the heart-led entrepreneurs, heart-centered entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call it. Uh, I think that just shows that people want that genuine, authentic person that they can connect with, that they can resonate with, they can see themselves within it, and you can see them dealing with stuff and overcoming some of this stuff. I think that's a huge part of the success that we see today with a lot of entrepreneurs. I don't know if you agree with that.
I think so. I think so. I think that's funny you say that, Ken. When you see some entrepreneurs that you admire, it's kind of you don't know why you admire them, right? You don't think
Mm.
about,
Yeah.
oh, I admire them because of this, because of that. You just tend to follow them. But there's got to be something that connects you. And
Hmm.
I think it's something that from their ability to be themselves that connects you. And I think that's just more fun. That's priceless. I can tell you that I made a mistake I queue up some of my email in the open cart, and years ago, I was so tired. I meant to send an email out 10 p.m. after
Hmm.
the webinar. I set it to 10 a.m. So I sent out the webinar replay. He's here, but the webinar has not happened. So have you done
I haven't done that one. No.
that? So what? What? So I have people call text. The link doesn't work. I said no. Webinar has not happened. Webinar's today. So in the old self of me, I would just spend a lot of my energy beating myself up,
Hmm.
and then
Which a lot of people would do.
I would show up on the webinar launch feeling like empty.
Mm. Yes.
So kind of working through that prison of professionalism. I can't say I'm completely out of the jail, but I'm breaking down the bars right now.
Hmm.
It And I said to myself, it's okay. So I just sent a oopsie email broadcast and then fix it in my signature. I said, okay, this is a real one after 10 p.m. And I
Mm.
said, and then in my signature, I said, imperfect Cindy. And and I hope I'm not disowned by my Chinese peers.
Definitely not. Yeah, that's such a great way to experience something and get a lesson out of something that, like you said, normally that could, ruin the entire webinar and you can beat yourself up the entire day. But, we're human, we make mistakes, and tech is not always on our side either. So, I mean, these things happen. And it's just good to find a way that we can learn to accept that and take the lesson from it. I mean, that's been definitely one of the biggest things that I've learned is to, look for the lessons in the things that go wrong for us instead of beating ourselves up because it happened. But it's not always easy. But usually there is a lesson if you just look hard enough.
No, I totally agree. Totally agree. Um, you mentioned something earlier about putting ourselves last.
Yeah.
I it kind of it really makes me think because yes, we we are course creator, we are entrepreneurs, we launch, but we are also husband, we are father, we are wife, we have we have obligations as well.
Hmm.
So it's very real to put our customers first, very real to put other people in the family first. The kids need to get to school, having the breakfast,
Yep.
having the school bag, everything's packed, clean clothes, dinner has to be on a table, toilets have to be cleaned for me. So it is very very understandable to put ourselves last, and that's what I see is a common mistake of not having the proper self care. And I
Hmm.
so my thought about that is putting. I think the mind trick, Ken. I don't know whether you agree with me. The mind tricks that we have for some people is I put myself last because I'm not. I don't want to spend the time on myself. I don't want to spend the money. Um, and then for some people, maybe it triggers something about self worth. I'm not
Hmm.
worth the time. I'm not worth the 15 minutes that I should be spending on myself.
Yep.
Okay. Would you
Yeah, I would say,
hear
definitely,
that
and
too?
I would think, yeah, and I would think that a lot of people would say maybe something like, I don't need that. That's, it's fine. It's not important or something along to that.
Yes. And I want to speak to that. And that happens to both men and women as well. It's not important.
Mm-hmm.
And that shows up in the morning, by the way. It shows up in the morning is breakfast. A lot of time people skip breakfast. So three common reasons. I'm too busy. Or
Yep.
if I skip breakfast, I can cut down on the amount of calories and help me lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
And the third is I I'm it's not important. Oh, I don't need that. I can just run through at lunch. But they know at 11 a.m. they know they have that gnawing feeling. They are beginning to lose concentration. So I want
Mm-hmm.
to offer a few thoughts here. Think about self care as a daily priming exercise. And I heard this from Tony Robbins, and I think make a lot of sense. They say that an athlete will train his body so that your muscles are the peak shape, but your emotion also need conditioning and training as well. And that really got me thinking. In fact, that was then that I started doing this emotional conditional conditioning um, exercise as part of my daily self-care element. Can I share some of that with you?
Yeah, I would love to share that.
So there are 5 elements that I think that we ought to do every day as part of our self-care is priming your body, priming your emotion. But I want to focus on three, just three right
Mm-hmm.
now. First is have breakfast. So the reason, because research have really shown that if you have a better quality breakfast, then it really set your energy up through the day. You feel more energy. And in fact, at night, you are less likely to go for the chocolate bars and the cookies. The research from University of Missouri is very, very interesting body of research. They've shown that a group of overweight young women, they actually ate fewer fatty and sugary cravings when they have eggs for breakfast. So If you are a breakfast skipper, rethink that. Have breakfast, have anything. So even if some breakfast is
Hmm.
better than no breakfast,
Right.
a breakfast with some protein doesn't have to be fancy at all. An egg, peanut butter on toast, that gives you some protein, or Greek yogurt that gives you 17 grams of protein. So some, I call that higher quality protein breakfast.
Hmm.
Having a protein rich breakfast is better than breakfast cereal. So have that. That's one element. You will feel the difference. Try that. And number two is that you want to practice gratitude. And I used to think gratitude was a woo woo thing, not important. But if you practice gratitude, actually, it attracts more good things to you. It kind of attracts more abundance to you. That's the
Hmm.
emotional conditioning. Think about if you do that every day, right? So I know some people like to write, and I don't write. I just sit in silent in my closet, in my closet.
Right.
And I simply bring myself back to a moment or day or event in the past that has brought me tremendous calm and joy and gratefulness. And I bring myself back to that day, back to that moment, and relive that moment, because your body, your mind does not know that you are simply thinking about a memory or that you are actually
Hmm.
living in that moment. Your mind, your hormones, and your the neurotransmitters think that you're living in that moment. So you want to bring yourself in that moment. That takes 5 minutes. So breakfast will take about 6 minutes. 6 minutes to make, 4 minutes to eat. No
Hmm.
distraction. So that's two. The third element is movement. Movement is non-negotiable. Whether you are with anything, whether you're doing silly jumpy jump, or whether you're bending by your waist and just shake down your head like a rag doll, or you run, or you walk, or you do yoga, you stretch. You, in fact, when you couldn't see me, I just saw my 15-pound weight. I would say, okay, why not me to lift some weight when Ken can see me again? So whatever that fits you, right? That 10 minutes.
Hmm.
Movement is the new medicine. I just read something the other day that really speaks to me, that we are suffering from a illness of complacency, and illness of not putting our muscle through stress enough. So three things: movement, just put your physical body, and also it benefits your mind as well, get more oxygen into your cells. Gratitude and breakfast, those are three elements. Do that daily. Should take about 25 minutes. 10 minutes for breakfast, 5 minutes of gratitude, 10 minutes for movement. And I
Hmm.
went into a little bit more depth of that in one of my Facebook Live. So if you go to my Facebook page, you scroll through that, you can see that episode of that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's it's crazy how simple things like that can make such a huge impact for your entire day, or if you continue doing this, obviously for your entire life. But simple things, love it.
You know, you say it so beautifully, Ken, about the mental game. The
Hmm.
numbers not what you we plan it to be, and that can really trigger a the purpose and the worthiness in a lot of people,
Hmm.
right? Because we don't have a paycheck every month. The paycheck every
Right.
month is like a way of, okay, you've done your month's work. In US, you get paid twice a month. You've done your
Hmm.
2 weeks work. It's almost like, a proof of purpose. But as an entrepreneur, you put in the work, the numbers might not be where you want to be. And in fact, I'm going through that right now. I have to constantly work myself again. Is am I what I'm doing? Is there a purpose to it? Am I on the right purpose? That's why
Mm.
the daily practice of gratitude reminds me that yes, my life has purpose. My life has joy. My life had that gratitude. By living through that again, it just helps to ground me.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, the other side of that coin is, you know, you put in all that work and you feel worthy because you put in all the work, and maybe you see some results from that as well. But maybe you get to a point where you don't have to put in all that work anymore, and suddenly it's like, well, am I doing enough? Is this am I could I be
Oh,
doing more? Should I be doing more? You know, so there's always two sides on that one. Even though you should be grateful for the fact that you come to this place where you don't actually have to put in all that work anymore.
that's
But
crazy. That's
we,
so true, right?
yeah,
Success brings another element, another level.
it does.
So you
It
almost like
certainly
you have
does.
to prepare. You have to have the mental energy
Again,
to
the mental
interpret the
game.
success.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. But is there anything that you feel like we haven't discussed that you want to make sure that we touch upon before we wrap this up?
Well, I really like our fellow entrepreneur to start somewhere. And
Mm-hmm.
I really want you to reframe the thought, not you, but anybody's watching this, to reframe the thought of, um, I put myself last because I'm not important. And I think I know what that comes from. It's a logical
Mm-hmm.
thinking because if I have 15 minutes, I'm going to help other people. I shouldn't spend the 15 minutes on myself. I think that's what it means. But I want you to think about like that. You are the center. From you, all the goodness radiates to your wife, to your husband, to your children. The most important part of the business is the business of you. If you spend some time in taking care of yourself, that's the most beautiful way of taking care of other people.
Mm-hmm.
The spokes radiate from you. So it's not a zero sum game. Spending time on yourself doesn't mean it detract from the people around you that you love. It actually
Yeah.
adds to it. I can tell you that when I was raising my 2 years old, my twins, they're 23-year old now. I was stay at home mom, and for those of you, I can't do you have children? You know that time, right? When you hardly have
Oh yeah.
time to go to the bathroom, right? So even
Yeah.
so, eating in peace was like out of the window. So in
Mm.
the morning, they were about 1 year old. And so my life was like that. I couldn't even go to the bathroom in peace because they would be knocking on the bathroom door,
Mm-hmm.
having two kids fighting and crying and all of that, and grocery shopping. But I don't know why. In the morning, I live in San Diego, so I was a subscriber of the newspaper called the San Diego Union Tribune. It's this thick. Even though I had no time through the day at all, taking care of them, cooking, shopping, cleaning, changing diapers. But that morning, in the morning, I would say, Mommy is eating breakfast and reading my newspaper. Don't bother me. It actually worked. Amazing. I don't know how it worked. It's like they knew I drew the line in the sand. So
Right.
they actually didn't fight. They didn't make a sound. And I would read my Union Tribune. That's my fuel for my mind. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so you draw a line and the world will adjust to it because you are feeding this most important part of your business and it radiates goodness.
Beautiful said. Yeah. And it's like, kind of like, when the flight attendants tell you to make sure that you put on your own oxygen mask first before you help others. Same principle. Take care of yourself before you take care of others.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's it.
Hmm.
That's
That's
it.
it. Well, I want to say thank you so much, Cindy, for coming on the show and sharing your experience and your knowledge about taking care of ourselves and what you've gone through as well. Is there any way that people can connect with you or work with you or any kind of form?
You can definitely connect with me on my Instagram, Cindy Phillips RD, and I also have every week I have a Facebook Live touching on a different nutrition solution. Is Tuesday so far, Tuesday morning. So it's on. You can find that on Cindy Chan Phillips Nutrition, and my email address is cindy@cindychanphillips.com. And also my website is cindychanphillips.com as well. And I just finished a webinar on how to stop evening cravings in 5 days. And I think I might have included a link with you. If not, then let me know, and I would
Yep.
share that with your audience so they can watch the webinar replay.
Yes, absolutely. We'll link up everything in the show notes that you have for us, and people have something to click through. But again, thank you so much for coming on the show, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. And hey, let's keep up the work.
Absolutely. And thank you for everybody who was listening in this week. Take care.